Why hello there guys, it is QwertyAfro here. Welcome back to another video and finally return of a bit of webcam, a little bit of face cam action. I don't know if I'm actually gonna keep it like as a standard thing in videos. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I don't mind putting it on. I guess it gives a little bit of more of a reaction, a bit more sort of like personality into the actual video, even though I would have thought my voice would just be enough, but I thought I'd add it in for this video and see what it is. You can also see my sort of new kind of like graphic that I have around the actual webcam overlay, which I'll be using. I think I have another version as well that I'll probably be using as well for my streams when I do start streaming, maybe soon, probably on YouTube. I thank you everyone also that actually did the poll on YouTube for which streaming platform I should stream on. I can definitely see most people said YouTube, and I will definitely look into that. I've not streamed on YouTube in a long time, so we'll see when we get to that, but live streams may be coming soon. Anyway, today we have a very I'm not overly excited, but it's not a new game, let's be honest here. This is a mega update. Is it a mega update? I don't know, but this is Train Sim World 3. Welcome to it. It's been, you know, I've done this too many times. I've done this too many times with all these sort of titles from Dovetail Games. You know the drill. I've been doing this for years in terms of like all the different train simulator classic evolutions, as well as a few of these Train Sim World from TSW, Heavy Haul to 2020 to 2 and now World and 3. So if I don't look as excited or like oh my god, it's because I've done this for a long time and I know not to really just go crazy at this or whatever, but it is still here. Train Simulator World 3, Train Sim World 3, and I'm gonna have a first little look at it today, see if there's anything, you know, that's of significance. The main things that I would just say in terms of like what's new with this game, because technically it is still the same game, even though they've put another 3 on it. It's another new fresh install. Your Train Simulator World, Train Sim World 2 is basically a separate game now. But essentially, from what I gather, new weather system update, dynamic weather, which from what I've seen with the screenshots and stuff like that, actually looks really good. So that I have no problem with. The weather, any sort of improvement visually, that's great, lovely. And then it's just sort of extra bits of like the physics and stuff of the engine, just improve, it's just update improvements really. The biggest visual thing is going to be the weather, and then obviously other kind of visual things are more like extensions to routes. And today I'm going to be driving on the first look and doing the Southeastern Highspeed, and we're going to be driving from the new section where you can now drive from Ashford International to obviously to St Pancras International on the high speed on the class 395, but you can now drive on the 465 and the 375, I think, even though I don't know if the 375's timetable to do this, but you can now drive to Dartford. So there's been extensions there. There's been this new German route. There's been the new updates to the American route. These are routes that I've not really been interested in before, but I'm gonna, in the series of this like first couple of Train Sim World 3 videos, I'm gonna do this one first as the UK kind of version, and then I'm gonna go on the German route and then on the American route. So just to see some differences here on like the different sort of like regions that you can play in the game. Obviously, one visual big thing that you can see right in front of us right now is the UI. The menu has completely changed, which I definitely like. I think this looks a lot more cleaner and it looks a bit more cohesive as a game. While I feel with the old game, it was very like separate, like it felt like each map you were going into felt like a separate game, which I get what they were trying to go for, but I prefer this sort of cohesive, like one game, and then you're just picking out what kind of like stuff you want to kind of do in the game. So I definitely like the new look. I like also the sound effects that you're kind of moving around. It's just a very sort of modern, clean sort of like, you know, tile based UI, and I'm very content with that. But another thing with the game, you get this like new training center, which I don't know if I'll ever do a sort of video on. I don't know if you guys would want me to have a look at this, but just gives you more tutorials and stuff, basically for new players into the game. Any new people that are coming into, even say like watching this video and want to like, you know, they're looking at this game and like, oh my God, it's too much. It looks complicated. The game caters to you. The game caters to your novice, to your beginner sort of skills, and it's like the sort of like instructions and stuff like that is actually generally really good. So if you're new and you want to get into this game, it's very good. Like it has everything you want to like help you to guide, like, you know, reach out a hand, guide you around. It has all of that. But other than that, like, I don't really see anything, you know. Your Creators Club is still there. The store, it's essentially the same game, just wrapped up nicely in a nice new visual sort of like package. But I do like the new menu, and I think it's a lot more cleaner. But we want to obviously get into today, and we want to do something. We want to do some driving, see the visuals, and the main thing for me I want to see is the weather. So I'm going to go on to, and what I love is just also the sort of like where you're picking out your trains. You just now have all of the sort of like trains you just pick, and then it already like knows like what route that you can drive it on. It'd be interesting to see if you can drive other trains on other routes kind of thing. I don't know if you can even do that. I've never really tried that. Like, you know, something with the old Train Sim Classic is you obviously had like the randomize feature or the quick drive feature, which I actually think you do. I think you do have quick play. You do have a quick place, but I don't know if this just puts you into like something. But anyway, I'm gonna pick my Southeastern Highspeed, my class 395, and I think I am going to do. Which one was I looking at to actually do? I wanted to do a Margate. So drive the Southeastern service from Ashford International to St Pancras. Dynamic weather is on. So you can do custom weather or you can do dynamic weather, but then you can also do like a sort of preset. So I don't know. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Because actually last night was, you know, kind of ironic with the video when I'm recording this video. We had actually a lot of like thunderstorms and lightning. I'm going to put on the lightning storm. I'm going to see what, if visually, if there's anything like really cool to see with the sort of new lightning. And yeah, right. 1 Juliet 25 Market to St Pancras International. Let's get started. Oh wow. I can already tell you. I like the reflections. I like the actual animation of the rain. That looks a lot better. That actually looks a lot better. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Anyway, I've not been in a 395 in a hot minute. So I'm just gonna unlock right. Oh no, I need to key on. That would be a good thing to do. Oh, there's me. I keep doing this one thing where I keep pressing E, because that's like the vigilance kind of like key with the old Train Sim Classic game, but it's Q does everything. Anyway, what are we doing? So I can put the reverse in forward, and the doors have opened for some reason. So it did actually open it, but I just had to key on for it to do it. Let's get the lights sorted to day running, and does that no, I can't actually hear a difference with that. It's like I get these buttons for like the fans and stuff, like they're controllable, but they don't actually do anything audible, which is a bit annoying. Vent, floor heat. Anyway, I think that's essentially, is a DRA on? No, it's not on. Right, and I feel also the game's a little bit more smoother. Even though I've not played on this route on like my new PC that I have. Let's lock the right. Oh, and we might as well get the wiper. We can get wiper on. So that's on speed. Let's have it on 40%, I think, because we actually do have like a pretty heavy downpour here. There we go. And we're already on overhead power, and we are in kilometers per hour. Let me just, I'm gonna lower it. I don't like the sound of this wiper. That's fine. But so far visually I'm liking the look of the game. Well, in terms of, I like the look of the actual weather. Right. And I've never driven in this section before, so this is my first time driving out of Ashford International. This is obviously one of the kind of like new parts of added to the Southeastern Highspeed route. Yeah, it's not too, yeah, I can definitely notice the sort of difference. Because I remember when I've played like on rain and stuff, on like the normal sort of weather before in Train Sim World 2, it definitely had, it was fine. Because I've never had the thing is, I've never had an issue. I've never had an issue with like the weather in Train Sim World 2. Never had a, like, I've never thought, oh, this needs to be better. But I get maybe people wanted to have like dynamic so it changes or something like that. But really, I think it's fine. Right, so now we go into cab signaling, into TVM. There we go. Oh, and the I think I should do is I should probably do like a brake test. So I'm going to do a nice little brake test in the tunnel, in the dry. And that should be good. Right. Oh, so I actually have never actually seen visually how this sort of connection at Ashford International actually looks like. So this is actually the first time I'm actually seeing this sort of, a little bit of sparks there on the pantographs. Someone did comment in my previous video with previous Train Sim 2 video. No, second to last previous Train Sim World 2 video, when I was doing the island line, where it was Rivet Games that did the actual route, so they probably added that sort of functionality already with the sparking third rail. But that's cool, all nice visual treats to the eye. Also, I'd like to thank Dovetail Games obviously for providing me access to Train Sim World free with a key, part of the Dovetail Ambassador program. Just to throw that in there. I'm not actually, this is my first time actually ever going into the game. I'm not actually, I've had access to it, I think, for the last, I want to say, how long have I had access to it? I've had access to it probably for the last couple of weeks. And I've not like gone into it and done anything really with it. because I kind of, the thing is, I wanted to do one more Train Sim World 2 video, and I thought I would overwrite the game, but then when I've actually switched and downloaded this, it was a separate game, so I kind of like thought like, oh, so that was me just being a bit dumb there. But also, I love, oh my god, finally, I don't know if this was a thing in Train Sim World 2, but with if this is to do with the weather update, I like the way the rain is scattering off the windscreen, because this is one thing I hated with like Train Sim World is when I've had to drive with the rain. It just, I don't like the way the rain sat on the windscreen, and it just like, you know, the wiper just wiped it off and that was it, and then the rest kind of just stayed there statically. So even though this looks a bit like, it does look a little, it almost looks a little pixelated, but I can see the effect that it's actually going. It's actually like really nice. Actually, the effect is actually like how the water would actually sort of kind of ripple and react, and the wind would kind of, you know, kind of dissipate the water. So that's actually really nice. It's actually not off-putting now to kind of have the rain on the windscreen when you're going actually at speed. So I do like this. And I have to say, the game is actually really, really stable. I've had a little bit of like some sort of like FPS dips here and there, whatever, which is understandable. If you want to know what computer I'm running right now, I'm running a AMD Ryzen 5900X and a AMD Radeon 6700 XT. So I have basically almost the best AMD CPU and the best AMD GPU, and it's running, I do believe I have this on my NVMe, the game. So this is running like there's nothing really much better in terms of like on the AMD side of things with PC specs. This is how it's looking on the best sort of like AMD platform, and to me it runs pretty well, and I'm running at 2K. I don't know what FPS I'm getting. What the video is recorded in is in 60 FPS, but I'm pretty sure, I think I've maxed the FPS in the game to about 144, which is about the refresh rate of my actual monitor that I'm playing on. So I'm sure if I left it in unlimited, it probably could go higher than 144, but I have to say the game feels very smooth, silky. I've turned off motion blur. I've never really liked playing this game with motion blur, so that is I don't know, maybe one day I'll succumb to the sort of like motion blur kind of way of playing. I don't know, do you guys play with motion blur? Is that a thing? Maybe I should give it a go. Maybe in the next video, maybe just say like, this is going to be the motion blur video that I trial it out on. Right, I don't know if this actually, does this have a speed set option like the 800s? I don't know. And I'm speeding. That's fine. Just leave that in there. Self-test, demister, rare couple, train wash. I don't think this has a speed set. No. I really wish at some point, I genuinely wish at some point that they would make a sort of like integrated GSMR kind of, just like, I think there is a mod that you can get with the Train Sim Classic now, where you can have like a GSMR that you can just input the actual head code in. I don't understand why that's not been like thought out in Train Sim World like at all. Like, it's just a simple thing of making these buttons clickable and having like just like a matrix display like set of numbers, and like you just put in the head code, or even just statically having GSMR GB. that's present on it. So when you like boot up the cab, it's just on. A fun fact as well is if you can't register, so in real life, if you don't know, I keep badgering on about this, but I think pretty much most people do know, is that I'm a train driver in real life. But when you, if you can't set up a train in terms of like you can't input a head code, as long as you have, I need to move down because my webcam's actually blocking it. As long as you have GSMR GB present on the GSMR headset device or unit, no, it's like a, what would they call this? It's just a GSMR, but like you know what I mean. It's the handset, but this is like the GSMR typeface or console. I'll call it a GSMR console. But as long as you have GSMR GB on the console, the signal knows where you are. So technically, you don't actually even have to drive with a head code, because your head code is already present in on the actual signaling side of things, because all of that's already like sent forward to the signaler from like the controls of different train operating companies, and all the paths and stuff are already like planned out. So essentially the signals all react to like actual head codes being programmed in already. So if you're there and you key on, it'll just come up and it will know like, oh, this train is this head code already. So there's been times, and like, you know, and there's people do forget sometimes to forget to change the head code or even just input a head code, and I've done it. I'm not going to be ashamed to admit there's times I've done it where I've completely forgotten to put in the head code, and it's nothing. You just drive, and then when you realize, you just put your head code in anywhere where you are, where you're at. And I really wish this actually had a speed set, because I'm just curtailing around 225 kmh, and like it's going over, it's going down. I'm really liking this fog. But what's so nice about obviously this route and this sort of like signaling arrangement is that it's all in cab. So I have my speeds here on the actual display unit here, and that's what I follow. If I need to slow down, it will let me know I need to slow down, I need to drop to a lower speed, and that's fantastic. Like, you know, I think with these sort of in-cab signaling nowadays, I think the simpler it is with in-cab signaling, it's the better. And luckily for me, fortunately, I've not driven TVM, but I have driven with three types of in-cab signaling. So the first type, which I don't technically drive, it's CBTC, but I can still drive in protected manual in CBTC, and that has a decent amount of information on the display that tells me, what speed I need to be at, when is my like end of authority. But really, it's just basically a speed hook that just changes with like the brake curve and the max speed that you should be going. And let me turn that off, because we're in a tunnel now, and we don't want to hear that annoying sound. I know you guys don't want to hear it, but then we're gonna have to turn it back on because we're now coming outside of the tunnel. But so that was in-cab signaling with CBTC, fine. But even though most of the time I'm not driving in protected manual in CBTC, I'm just the train driving in ATO. Second type is ETCS, and with that one I drive in, there's different levels of ETCS. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 1 is sort of in terms of where I drive, level 1 is a transition mode. I know I don't know if there's other places, or like in other places in Europe, where level 1 is used as like an actual driving mode, but level 1 essentially in a class 3, 4, 5 that I drive is essentially a transition mode. So it basically, when I need to when we need to step up from TPWS, AWS to ETCS level 2, it goes through level 1 first. And we're going through, I think this is near Medway, right? I think I've gone, this is the M2. I think this is the M2. Yeah, I think this is the M2. There's a good go-karting place around here, just to sidetrack off. I think it's called Buckmore Go-Karting. Really, really good place. If any of you guys like go-karting, Buckmore Go-Karting around here, really, really good. I did one of their, with a couple of mates, I did their 6-hour endurance race. Really, really fun. Just as a sidetrack there. But yeah, as I was saying, with ETCS, level 1 is just a transition mode. It's normally when we're going from TPWS to AWS, and it's when we're going, so where I drive to go to Heathrow Airport at Airport Junction, which is the junction that curves off the Great Western Main Line that goes into the Heathrow tunnels. There, essentially, it goes into level 1, and it's still in TPWS, AWS, and then it steps up into level 2. And then level 2 is the main one where you basically drive and you manually drive in. And then obviously there's a level 3. I don't know too much about level 3. I think that's the one where it's more sort of automated and the train drives itself. Kind of, there is ATO kind of capabilities with ETCS, which actually, if you guys didn't know, the Elizabeth line was actually originally supposed to be designed with ETCS level 3 as fully automated, with ETCS basically being the main sort of signaling system. But I don't think at the time they had a good enough mature. Because I don't even need to put on the wipers. Like the rain just swashes away, which is really cool. But yeah, at the time, ETCS level 3 for ATO was not as good of a mature software for the UK, at least, to be used. So they ended up using Siemens Train Guard, which is CBTC. And then. Okay, so let me just get into a bit of minimum braking here, because we're getting a little flashing, but obviously about 4 miles now away from Ashford International. So, and then the third in-cab signaling that I've driven on, had the privilege of driving on, is ATP. I just don't know what it stands for, which is really bad. Every time I go to say ATP, I'm like Advanced Train Passenger thing, but it's not. But ATP is a type of signaling that was like an experimental sort of kind of thing in the 90s that they installed on the Chiltern main lines. I've talked about this in like a previous video or whatever, but they did it on the Chiltern main lines, they did it on the Great Western Main Line. And essentially it gives you a really nice, like on the 800s you would see on their sort of speed dial, they had like these sort of like lights, or like little bulb lights ahead of each sort of increment of 10 miles per hour, and it would like it would illuminate green to let you know that you can I should be really braking now, shouldn't I? That's fine, we're braking, we're fine. It would illuminate green on increments of 10 miles per hour. And then it would go orange. If I remember this right, it would flash then green to a lower speed, like how this is, like where it flashes the like next sort of like speed that you should lower down to. And then you would have like a steady yellow where you would be coming up to like say a red where there's like a end of authority coming up. You then also have like a flashing yellow, which I think was for the sort of kind of like release speeds that you had. So like a release speed would be that you come up to a red, and then it would change to like a proceed aspect. But the way that the system was done, it didn't sometimes update properly. There was like update loops that the train would have to go past to update the new speed, and essentially some signals didn't have this, so you would have to go at a release speed, which normally for some signals it was like 5, 10, 15 miles per hour, that you would have to literally crawl up to a green signal at that sort of speed, just so that the update loop could be picked up, and then the new sort of like line speed would be updated on the system. But all of those in-cab signaling kind of systems were just really simple, and I would say out of all of them, I would say ATP was like the best sort of like visually, because it was just great. Like, I didn't have a lot of information that was on the eye. Well, I feel with like ETCS and even CBTC, there can be a lot of information on the screen to kind of like pick up. Oh my god. Oh, and the rain then like, yeah, picks up a bit more on the windscreen. This is really nice. And why is this stopping thing? I've turned this off in the settings. Oh. I think that's good. Nice. I like that. It's all rainy now. A little screenshot there. Oh, we're here at Ebbsfleet. Oh, so nothing on this TCMS actually works. Oh, that's a bit upsetting. And I just realized that this whole scenario will be done under overhead wire. There's no firmware running in this scenario, or this like service that we're doing. Right, let's get the doors closed. Oh my god. All these people just like not knowing what to do with themselves. Ah, look at that. The actual rain stops with the that's nice. Actually, let's do another one like that. Perfect. Right, let's get going. Next station is Stratford International. Wow, that is a lot of people. I can't actually remember if... Because I remember the rain used to go through objects, solid objects. I don't know if this was like in early versions of Train Sim World, like in Heavy Haul and in 2020. That was actually quite cool when I was taking the screenshot that the rain stopped at the shelter, which I know like... I know in old Train Sim Classic that was always the sort of kind of like thing that would happen. But yeah, like to be honest, I probably need to check out some of the other kind of like weather that's you know, I've seen some really cool like screenshots of like the sunsets, the sunrises, and just like the different cloud levels. And I have to say, like, from what I'm seeing, the weather, that when they were like, yeah, dynamic weather's coming, I've definitely impressed. I'm impressed with the sort of like the weather. I think it's a good enough like feature, but I wouldn't say it's a big enough feature to be like, oh, this is a completely new game. I can't still swallow that. I really think Train Sim World 2 could have been updated heavily, and it could have just been a big update. And I just don't understand why they don't, like, they've accepted the kind of fact with Train Sim Classic that that's always going to be Train Sim Classic now. And let me turn off the wiper because we're going to be in the tunnel now for a long time, and I'm just going to pump up the power. I do not know what the cab light key is. Because I was thinking, oh, maybe I could turn on the cab light. It doesn't matter, actually. To be honest, the lighting in the tunnel looks sort of like it's improved a bit from what I can see. I don't know what's going on with the sounds and the rattling that I'm hearing. This sounds really interesting. Like, trains do rattle. Trains have a lot of rattling panels and stuff like that, and especially like as a train driver in some of these cabs, like things do rattle because there's a lot of vibrations that go through the actual bogie and the actual suspension of the train that, like, you know, maybe in the saloon it's not picked up as much. Maybe obviously there are some trains, and we know there are some trains that are infamously bad with the sort of rattling and panels shaking and stuff like that. Oh, I liked when we came out the tunnel, it gave a nice little flash there, which is nice. The light transitioning, kind of like, it's quite nice. But I really like this. I might drive more in the rain. This is really nice. I normally never drive. I never drive in the rain in these games because I just don't want to have the wiper on. I don't like the way the rain sits on the windscreen. But I'm really liking this. It would have been good if you like actually had like, if like, just to kind of explain, it would have been nice to have like rain streaks, like, because when I'm going fast as a driver and it's, say if it's raining heavy, really heavy, you have like loads of like streaks of like raindrops that just like go past you, like almost horizontally, because you're going so fast. So that would have been nice to see, instead of just, the only thing right now I can tell that it's raining is that there's droplets on my windscreen, but I can't actually physically see any kind of rain around, like actually dropping on the environment or like just passing me at speed. Like even like here, like it's only the droplets on the windscreen. Like even out here, like, let me just put this on a low speed. Like how do I know it's raining right now? Tell me. Oh my god. Camera action. Go. But also now I can see the fog has slightly minimized. I think, yeah, the fog has slightly minimized, and it's kind of brightened up a bit, if you know what I mean. Like when we started at when we started at Ashford to like Ebbsfleet, it was kind of like dark. It was like that sort of like darker cloud. But now you can see you get these really nice sort of like, well, they're not nice, but nicely modeled cumulus clouds, like sort of lighter rain clouds, and that's quite nice. That's quite nice. Yeah, overall, like so far with this route, and it's a nice extension to Ashford. Because I know before, I think the only thing you could really drive from was Faversham. So it's nice that we have a new sort of like area that you can drive from on the route to St Pancras. And then for the domestic services, you have the extension to Dartford, which obviously it would be really nice if it could like sort of eventually connect around to like, I don't know, Cannon Street and Charing Cross or even Victoria or something like that. Because it's weird having a train terminate at Dartford from Faversham or something like that. Let me turn off the wiper. Let me coast a bit here. But yeah, tell me guys what you think so far, what you've been seeing of Train Sim World 3. I know, I think it comes out on the 9th of September. I think, is there an early access for people that buy the, I think it's the premium edition with like the Age of Steam, if that's what it's called. I still need to do a video actually on that route with the Steam train, but I've always had really bad experiences with Steam engines and Train Sim. I can't actually wow, yeah, I've actually done a video with a Steam engine on Train Simulator Classic. I'll pop a thing maybe if I remember one of those YouTube cards, and you guys can go and have a look at that Steam. I think it was Milford Haven or something that I drove on to I don't know. It's such a long time ago. But yeah. For more kind of like train sim wild free content, I'm gonna be, for the next few videos, I'm gonna try the new German high-speed route, and then I'm gonna try the American sort of like heavy haul route, I suppose. Right, get some minimum braking now. We're coming to Stratford International. Oh, and one thing that I wanted to do, because I know that I turned it off. Oh, and if you want to know what settings I'm running right now, it's pretty much that. 120. Actually, I might change that down to 100% because I feel it's a bit zoomed in. And then where is the next stop marker? There we go. Did that zoom out a bit? I think it did. I think it did. And I don't think I've done a video yet when I've driven into St Pancras International. I don't think. So we're just knocking this all off today. In my first Train Sim World free video. And maybe at some point in the future there might be a Train Sim World free live stream here on YouTube. I still wish there was just a little bit better illumination of the tunnel. Just a little bit better. Because I just hate that I'm just looking at, like, even though, look, I drive in tunnels quite a lot because, you know, Elizabeth Line, the central operating section, it's basically just all tunnels. I in real life drive and I'm looking ahead at black holes all day, every day, most of the time when I'm down there. But it's not a full opaque black hole. There is a lot, like in a tunnel, you'll be surprised. Light catches, especially from headlights from trains, light catches a lot in a tunnel, a lot. So for me, I just don't see why more could have not been done with like some of the light illumination in tunnels in this game. There we go. A lot of people again. Not getting out and touching that. Don't do that. Don't do that, QwertyAfro. Well, that will do. Right, let's go outside, have a look. I don't know if anything, I think certain like visual bits maybe have been upgraded as well. Not too much, but as I said, the main sort of update for this game was the weather system, the UI for the menu, the new routes, the new extensions to routes, and obviously some of the sort of like I think for like Unreal Engine 4 they did a lot of like stability and stuff, and just kind of like software sort of kind of like back-end sort of like updates for the coding and programming of the game, I presume. Right, next station and final station will be St Pancras International. the camera is a little better. It kind of hits into an object now, but kind of divert, like instead of before where it kind of just like freak out, at least now it's sort of, I don't know, and the fog is back. The fog is back. But no matter, we're now basically in a tunnel for the next sort of like just under 5 miles to St Pancras International. But do let me know, do you guys as well like the webcam, if this is a sort of nicer angle. I have one of my monitors like vertically sort of like kind of like positioned, so I put it all the way at the top there, so it has this sort of nice angle where I can look this way, and it's more like sort of like if I do live stream, when I'm like looking at the chat, I'm like looking like there in that sort of direction at this monitor, and then the game monitor is right in front of me. So I don't know for like recording a video if this is like the sort of best kind of thing where I'm looking here talking and then like kind of also sometimes look up and like, yeah, what do you think? Do let me know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always open to feedback and suggestions and stuff like that for the channel. Obviously this is the sort of like re-evolution, re-comeback kind of thing of my channel. Tell me guys what you think, if you like the sort of like continuous content now with me being back again. Again, do ring the bell, because if you're not seeing my content and if you're just finding out now, like, hey, you're back, I'm like, yeah, I've been back. I've made now. Someone was like, oh, let's see how long QWERTY like lasts this time, and I literally commented back. I'm like, look, I've made now more videos in this last couple of weeks than I have in the last couple of years. So for me, I've already won. I've accomplished more with this YouTube channel in this time, coming back again and really being serious with the content creation. So I hope you guys, I could only hope that you guys enjoy it and that you're enjoying like having me back in your subscription feeds. But as I said, it's always appreciated if you guys can just ring the bell. That is just for you guys to see the content's coming in your that's popping up in your feed. And that's all I would say. I'm not going to be like, oh, like, favorite the video, do a video response. Like, you know, if anyone's that old enough to remember video responses in YouTube. But yeah, let me know in the comments as well what your thoughts are on Train Sim World 3. What you guys have been seeing so far of it. Do you think it warrants another pre-purchase? Do you think anything else in terms of this sort of life cycle of this version of the game? What do you think is going to happen with it? Things like multiplayer, or maybe an editor, or I don't know. We'll just have to see. There's just, it's just like that meme again, like, here we go again, like, you know, it's just. But at least one thing I can say is that the dynamic weather is good. I cannot slate a feature that's actually, you know, doing good. It's actually like visually, like, I can notice the difference. I will not slate that. But do I think it's a big enough feature to warrant a new release of a game? That I will probably take more issue with. Get the wiper back on. So there's there's actual line side signals but no AWS, which is kind of funny. Platform 12. don't know, have they improved the sounds of the 395? Kind of sound a little more interesting. I could just be making that up in my head. Ah, there's 2 6 cars here. Ah, so do they? I'm assuming so. Do they do like permissive moves into St Pancras here, where they have like 2 different services starting? That's actually really cool. If they do that, because they only have what? They only have 3 platforms, so I'm assuming sometimes they just stack units. Right, we can turn off the wiper because the rain is not leaking through the roof. And oh, I sometimes do this in real life, like when you come into a station and it's like, especially I do this at Liverpool Street when I come into high level Liverpool Street and like there's other units, I try and line up with the unit, just, you know, just nice little bit to be in unison. Right, let's get the headlights off, reverser off, key off, and jump out the seat, and that is a job well done, I would think. And then that goes back to Margate, that's to Ramsgate, and that's to St Pancras International, apparently. I don't know. Not bad. We only sped a couple of times down here, basically when we were supposed to. But generally, that was a nice, smooth run, really relaxing. And I have to say, as I said, the weather, like, honestly, the weather, I have to give my hats off here to Dovetail. The weather really nice. I can't wait to just try out the different like other things. I like also that you can kind of preset it as well. So you could have it, but then I don't understand then how can it be dynamic then if you say preset it to clear and dynamic weather, it's just going to always stay clear. And maybe would it like, I was expecting maybe on this sort of setting, when I put it on the sort of like dynamic weather with the thunderstorm, that it would start off as thunderstorm and maybe then clear up. Or maybe I've not played, I wasn't in the game long enough for it to clear up, or I don't know how the dynamic weather works in terms of like, if you preset it to something. Because I thought, oh, it'd just be a separate option where it'll just randomize the weather when you're in. But then you also still have the presets for clear, light cloud, whatever. So I don't understand how is it dynamic if you're presetting it to a set sort of thing, unless you need to spend more time in the actual game for it to really change. I'm not too sure, but I do like the look of the new weather. Definitely the visuals of the weather, kind of like, just for me, just now experiencing it with the thunderstorm and the rain and the effects on the sort of train look really, really, really nice. And I can't wait to have a look at some more, especially the sun and the different other sort of elements of the weather. Snow even potentially as well would be really nice to see how that looks. But this has been my first video, guys, on Train Sim World 3. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Driving on the Southeastern Highspeed from Ashford International to Stratford and then St Pancras International. All the international stations were knocking off, but except one of them is an international station. But this is the like one of the routes that comes with Train Sim World 3 as the starter pack. I do believe there's different editions as well to the game. There's like a UK, US, German edition. So if you want particularly like it, you can get all of them in like one sort of like edition pack. You can get I think you can get like UK, US, German, sort of like if you just want one of them. And then there's like a deluxe one which throws in the spirit of Steam. I think it is. I think it's the Spirit of Steam, but you can get that as well, like, and all of the other ones in like a deluxe sort of like pack as well. But I'll leave the link down below for Train Sim World 3 so you can look at it on Steam. Let me know again your thoughts and stuff in the comments down below. Let me know as well if you'd like the webcam, if you want me to keep it for videos, or you just wanted me to keep it purely for live streams. I do not mind. Let me know. Feedback is always appreciated. And let's see how this run of this iteration of Train Sim Mod goes. I have no real expectations. I just, you know, as long as the game plays well and I guess some cool stuff gets added, it's great. But I will only be interested when the kind of like bigger features that were promised at the very beginning before this was even a game, editor, multiplayer, etc. If once those kind of serious features that were promised get kind of talked about a bit more seriously and actually get added to the game, that's probably when I'll probably wake up a bit more to this game, because right now it's still just the sort of same game and it's just a DLC machine again. So I can't, there's nothing really much I can say. Like it looks pretty, it's great. It's feeling, I guess, a bit more simulatory. Before, when I kind of started playing this game, it kind of didn't have that sort of feel like Train Sim Classic, but I feel that it has improved somewhat over the kind of few iterations now that I've been. So we'll see how this one goes. And yeah, I'll be doing videos of the US route and the German route as well for the next few videos of Train Sim Mod 3, and then we'll probably just get back to sort of just doing anything basically. But anyway, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed that. I had fun and nice seeing you again on the webcam, and I'll see you guys in another video. Take care. Bye bye.
We ain't never giving up 'cause we ain't born for